Hello and welcome back to the channel, everybody. And before I get into the video, I want to wish you all a very happy festive season. It's been absolutely crazy in real life for me, and I'm really stoked now to be on holiday. I can start pumping out the content regularly again, so hope it's been a good one for you. And like I said, I'm really looking forward to getting back in the seats, as they say. And today, well, I'm in Air Hauler 2. And one of the really common questions I've been getting is, how do I set up passenger flights or scheduled passenger flights? Now, this is something I did a tutorial on when I did my X-Plane series earlier in the year. And go and check that out. It pretty much covers absolutely everything you need to know. And it's totally applicable to the Microsoft Flight Simulator version, P3D, FSX, all the versions. But I thought I'll just run through it today. I've got the Microsoft Flight Simulator version of Air Hauler 2 right here, so we'll step you through it. It's a really good way. By what you can do is you can use AI pilots, set up scheduled passenger flights, and they'll just continually fly them day in, day out. And that's going to earn you a bit of money, which is fantastic. But it's also going to aid in building your passenger reputation, and reputation has a big impact in this particular program, so always good to get that built up in the background, and it only takes a little bit to set it up, and once it's set up it pretty much takes care of itself. So to get into the passenger routes, there's three ways you can do it in Microsoft Flight Simulator. You can click on the tab right here on the right hand corner, top right hand corner, passenger ops. You can also, if you've got this view on right here, go to routes is what it's called, or if you've got the old school looking drop down here, you can go to routes right there. We'll grab that one right there. And as you can see in here right now, we don't have any scheduled passenger flights. And so what are scheduled passenger flights? Well, they're pretty much exactly as they sound. They're essentially flights that will be conducted at certain times throughout the day. You assign pilots to them, and the aim of those flights is to carry passengers from point A to point B. So the best way to do it is to use AI pilots. You can fly them yourself if you want to, but the best way to do it is to set them all up, let your AI pilots fly them, and away you go. A couple of things you're going to need to sort out for a start. Number one, you're going to need to hire a pilot. Depending on how many aircraft you want to run, you might have to hire multiple pilots, and it depends on the size of the aircraft. Bigger aircraft need more crew. They need pilots and crew. So what I'm going to do is just to set up a very basic one here with the Cessna Caravan 208. We'll go ahead and hire a pilot. If you've got no aircraft at the moment, you're going to have to get an aircraft. You can either lease an aircraft, or you can, if you've purchased one, use that. I've got the one that I got when I set up this company right here, so I'm going to use that. So before I need to do that though, let's go up and go into the market right here, and we're going to hire crew. So we click on that, and here we go right there. So what you need to do is just scroll through here and have a look at how much their monthly salary is, because that's how much you're going to have to pay them month in, month out. You also want to see what their current rank is. That just gives you a bit of an idea on their experience. And on the right hand side here, MTOW limit, which is maximum takeoff weight limit. So for example, if you need them to fly a big Airbus or something like that, you want to make sure that they can fly aircraft that has a high enough MTOW limit. There's no use putting someone into an Airbus if all they've got is a 10,000 pound MTOW limit. They're not going to be able to fly for you. So that's just one consideration. So what I'm going to do is just have a quick look through these offline, and I'll come back to you, and we'll go ahead and hire somebody. Okay, we are back, and it looks like Anthony Rice, who is a second officer, you can see over here. His monthly salary is $7,361. It looks like he's our guy. In fact, there were only 2 pilots in the recruitment area right here that actually had the rating to fly the aircraft that I wanted. See right here, Cessna 208 is on his list. Now you can hire a crew and put them through an aircraft rating. So if they don't have the rating you need, you can put them through that and get them to do the type rating test. But for a start, we'll make life a lot easier just by doing that. The other thing you do is click on their skills, and you can see some of the things that they've got set up at the moment. You can see where they've got stars allocated, and that's covered off in that other full tutorial service. But basically, this helps them do things like load passengers a lot faster, have better landings, all that sort of stuff, be more efficient. So there we go there. So Anthony Rice, he's our guy. All I do is press hire pilot. Do you want to hire him for $7,361? We do indeed. And where do you want him to be located? I'm going to put him at my air base right there. And there we go. He has joined our company, so we are good now to go ahead and set up some passenger routes. So I'll meet you over in that screen. Okay, we're in the passenger route screen right here, and what you need to know up front is there's a couple of rules around what your pilots can and can't do. The main one is the amount of hours that your crew can be active in a day, and the answer to that is 8. So basically, once the wheels go up in the first flight of the day, that's when the 8-hour timer starts, and it's continuous. Even if you loaf around in between and have a big break, it doesn't matter. That 8 hours is going to continue. So if you start at midday, that person can do stuff up until 8 p.m. that night, and then they must have a 16-hour break before they can start their flights again the next day, or it might be the same day. It will be the next day, actually. Get it right, Mace. Anyway, so you just got to make sure that when you put these scheduled routes together, and you do have to give days and times, that you take into account the fact that they're going to be out of action for 16 hours. Now, it's a pretty easy thing on a Cessna 208 because we're not doing massive overnight flights, but once you start getting into the big aircraft, you're going to have multiple crews and a few things like that. So it's just something to take into account. Anyway, let's go ahead, and what we want to do is just set up our first sector. Where are we going to fly to? And what you need to do is just have a look around your map and just figure out the distance of flights that you want your pilots to be flying. It's a little bit of trial and error. I've done a little bit of research here. My company is based in Hawaii in Dillingham, PHDH, so I'm going to go ahead and add a sector. The aircraft will be departing from PHDH, and thank you to whoever just subscribed to my channel. I got the notification through right there. But anyway, it always says where the aircraft is currently located, so we'll depart from PHDH. And then let's look at a destination airport. I'm going to go PHKO. Did a little bit of research, and it's an international airport over on the Big Island there. So I'm going to go use destination, and you get presented with this screen here. Now this is basically this is where you go and set up that particular flight. So what you need to do for a start is tell it when do you want it to depart. So let's just we're going to set up a schedule from Monday through to Friday. We're not going to do Saturday and Sunday. We're going to give our pilots off. Now that's the other rule. It's not really a rule, it's just something to know about. You can fly your pilots every single day, or your crew I should say. They don't have to have a rest. So you can fly them 7 days a week, no problem at all. As long as they don't exceed the 8 hours, you are good as gold. So I'm going to go ahead and just start them at a nice reasonable hour of 8 a.m. I'm going the wrong way, Mace. Here we go, right there. So the first thing you say is for this particular leg, PHDH to PHKO, what time do I want it to start? 8 a.m. As simple as that. The next thing you do is then allocate the ticket price for each of the classes in your aircraft. Now, this definitely takes a little bit of trial and error. Because there's a few things to take into account, and you may have to just watch your flights over a period of time just to get a feel for whether you've priced them too high or too low. Demand will tell you. But for a start, I look over on the right hand side, I can see that the estimated travellers per day on this route is 206, so there's a decent amount of demand there. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to start it dead in the middle, $402. Now that is just a complete guess. And down the right hand side here, you can see that if this flight is full, 100% utilization, then this flight will have an income of $3,618. Very important figure, that one. So the other figure that you really want to take notice of is this one here, the direct operating cost, $437. So I would bring in 3618 and it would cost me 437. So that would be a nice little profit per flight there for these particular flights. Now, one thing you do need to know is for the same length flight, carrying cargo will pay a lot more if you're flying it. So don't expect to make millions and millions and millions over the space of 2 days. It just doesn't happen. But it will. What you probably want to do is initially set it up so it at least covers your base operating costs, for example. So then you know that can just fly in the background, and even if you're not flying yourself, you know your costs are going to be covered. But anyway, back to setting up the flight. The direct operating cost is right there, so we can see it's well below our utilization costs. Now, if this flies empty, it's going to cost us some money. Common sense, right? The other thing you need to set up is the cabin service. We dropped that down. You've got 3 types of service where they can, your customers can either purchase a service, you can give them complimentary service, or executive service. So a purchase service, see how it increased by having that service available to increase the direct operating costs, and the better service you give them, the the higher the cost, the direct operating cost. For this one here, I'm going to give it a complimentary service. So they're going to get some tea and biscuits or something like that, or some coffee, or maybe some beers maybe. Although at 8 AM on a Monday, don't know. Then again, they could be on holiday. Get into it, boy. As you can see down here, the turnaround time is 30 minutes. So this is going to be very, very key when you're looking at setting up your schedules, because what we need to happen is after whatever flights we set up for this person on the day, it might be 2 decently long flights or 4 smaller flights, they need to be back at our base by before that 8 hour expires. Otherwise, they're not going to be in the right location the next day when the same schedule gets flown over again. Because what I'm going to probably look to do is every day have exactly the same schedule. I recommend doing that. It makes it way easier to set up. And then what you need to do at the end of each day, just go in and check to see if you got full utilization. So if tomorrow after this flight has been flown, I want to check out, I'll check out how many people flew. And if it was fully loaded, I might increase my price because there's decent demand. If it wasn't fully loaded, that's telling you probably need to knock down your price a bit. So this is something to take into account. Hopefully this is all making sense. I'm kind of rushing through it a little bit, but I'll go ahead and press Ag Sector right there. And as you can see, this has all been set up nice and easy. Departure time 0800. The estimated time of arrival is 0920. So it's a 1 hour and 20 flight. Remember, we've got that 30-minute turnaround. So essentially, this whole leg takes about 2 hours. So that's good. So there and back is going to take up about half the flying time for this particular crew member. Now, what you can do is you can right-click and you can go ahead and press Assign Crew. You require 1 crew for this schedule. And you can say, okay, who I'm going to have. I'm going to have Anthony Rice. And we go Save. And then that flight is all set up. So what will happen is once it reaches this real time, 0800 Monday, Zulu time, that flight will just automatically get flown by this pilot. Now, having just 1 flight is not going to work because he's going to end up at PHKO. And then once it gets to the next day and you need the pilot and the plane to be at PHDH, it ain't going to work. So you need to put a return leg in. Now, one thing I'll also say is you don't have to, after you set up a sector, go ahead and go assign crew every single time. No need to do that. Just what you can actually do is do this assign crew and pilots button. And we'll go ahead and use that for the next few legs once we set those up. So what we do know is we do know that this flight's been set up correctly. So the best way to do a return leg now is go add after. This aircraft will be departing from PHKO. That's great. Okay. And we are going to go ahead and go back to PHDH. And we go use selected because that's our home base. We're going to do a return flight. We're going to keep exactly the same criteria right here. Middle of the road for our ticketing price. The direct operating cost is way less than what our income will be at full utilization. So I'm very happy with that. Turnaround time is 30 minutes. Estimated boarding time is 2 minutes. So we know that we know what those times are. So we've got a departure time right here of 10:05. So it will pretty much default to the earliest time here that you can depart based on the offloading time, etc. of that other flight. So once again, I'm just going to go add sector, and it is easy as that. Now the reason it is red right here is because I don't have a pilot allocated to it at the moment, but we're going to deal with that in a minute. So as you can see, our return flight gets us back at 11:26 AM. I don't know if you can quite see that, but that's what it says there. So we're going to probably have can we? Let's see, if we go add after, and if we do exactly the same flight, we could just fly there and back between these two destinations, no problem at all. So if I go PHKO, well, I just got to see whether, let's test it out, use selected. Departing at 12:11. So that's going to be a problem for us because we need to be able to get back to, well, let's go ahead and try it out. This is where the trial and error comes in, everybody. So I'm leaving it exactly the same, and I'm going to go add sector. And then if I go add after again, here we go. This is a little bit all over the place. PHTA. There is an easier way to add these, by the way. I'll show you in a minute. And we go use selected. And if we go add sector, 1538. is the time that I'll arrive back. And so that's actually completely fine, everybody. See that time there? Monday, 15:38. So remember, we started at 0800, which means we would have to be back at base at 1600 to make sure we're within the 8 hours time that a crew can fly. So hopefully this is all making sense for you at the moment. Now, as we can see, these are unallocated. What I would probably do to mix it up a little bit is I'd probably put a smaller flights or a couple of other flights in there. But I know this is pretty much maximum out the pilot's flight time every day, and it's a nice lucrative flight. So I'm actually going to keep it in there. It's a little bit boring. It's back and forward twice to the same place. But that's really, I'm more than happy with that. So, there we go. We've got Monday all sorted right there. Now, one thing you need to know is it takes about 24 hours for the system to kick in. So, if you set it up and you notice that the pilot isn't flying these flights straight away, wait 24 hours and it should be all good. So, I remember earlier I said, hey, look, you don't have to go and individually allocate the pilots by going assign crew. You can just go assign crew and pilots, and you go, okay. And you go Anthony Rice, and I go save. Boom, there we go. All 4 of these flights have now been, Anthony Rice has been allocated as the pilot. So those are all set up, everybody. It meets the rules. We're within under 8 hours. There and back, they all look profitable if they're full. Now we just need to see, after they've been flown, what, we just need to check to make sure they actually make some money. So, now, that's Monday. Now, the good thing is you don't have to go and individually schedule in these flights for the rest of the days of the week. And I did say earlier I was only going to do 5 days, but I'll do 7 days here. I'll do 7 days a week and just show you how you can schedule in every day. But you don't have to go ahead and for Tuesday go and individually set up these flights. What you need to do is you can go copy day to others, and then you can just go Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. So what this will do is set up the exact same schedule for this day and set it up for these remaining days of the week. So go, okay, boom, there we go, all set up. I go assign pilot because we want to assign the same pilot, and there we go. We have now set up our very first schedule in our Cessna 28 Caravan. Anthony Rice is going to be the pilot. He's flying backwards and forwards between PHDH and PHKO. And he's all set up good to go. So there we go, everybody. That's how you go ahead and set up a schedule. It's got heaps of tools, as you can see in here, that make it nice and easy to schedule everything in the way that you want to do it. This is very basic because I'm going to the same place there and back and using the same aircraft and pilot. But as you get more and more pilots and they're bigger aircraft, you're going to need to do a little bit more work to set it up. But it does have those tools there to make life easier. So all I need to do is what I'll do over the next few days is as these flights get flown, I just come back into this screen and look down the bottom here. And this will show you between, the utilization basically of each of these flights. So straight away you'll be able to see if you're getting 100% utilization. If you're getting 100% straight off the bat, maybe look at increasing prices a little bit just to see whether you can eke out a few more dollars. If it's not getting fully utilized, it might mean you're a little bit overpriced. So you just need to, once you figure these out on a day-to-day basis, and you might find actually that demand is higher or lower on different days. So for example, if the Monday at midday flight, if I go in and I go sector details, I see when it's first flown that it's actually only a 30% utilization. I'm overpriced. I pull the slider down and change the price. Otherwise, I might put it up, depending on what's happening, or you might leave it the same if it's completely fine. So it takes a little bit of trial and error, but as you can see, it's got all the tools there, makes it nice and easy. So there we go, everybody. That's how you set up scheduled passenger routes. Great way to make income in the background once they've been set up. Also fantastic for your passenger reputation. You watch in the, it will just go through the roof as long as you've hired a decent pilot. Make sure you hire a good pilot. Some pilots are better than the others. Anyway, I hope this all made sense to everybody. I want to say a huge thank you very much for watching. Make sure you smash that like button down below. Subscribe if you are new. And until next time, everybody, take it easy.